Yo, yo. Am I live? Can you hear me? Let's see. Is anyone out there? Yeah, I think everything's working right. I just trying to get everything set up because it's always a little different each time. Yeah, I think everything's working right. My levels are always a little trying to get everything set up because. So, thanks for showing up, everybody. Whoever is here, I see plenty of folks already. I see D-Wags grabbed first, and Neff is up in here as second, and we got Zayd Studios as well as Bionic Bra. What's up? I'm wondering, when you grab your cup, is it with your cool arm? Can you are you able to like grab a cup and drink? Is it that articulate? That's what I'd like to know, because that'd be really cool. And if so, I would like to see that at some point. Anyway, we are chilling on a Sunday. Got my coffee. Got my X-Force cup, ready to support Beard Zerker. Everybody's out there. Go check out Don Chin. He's got some cool shows as well. B-Rose is showing up. What's up? Morning. I think it's really early by you, right? Aren't you west of me? I'm East Coast. You might be East Coast as well. I can't remember. Yeah, that's cool. Cool that you can pick up a mug with that thing. That's awesome because I don't know. In some weird ignorant brain that I have, I feel I can envision you like crushing the cup or something, like some sort of comic book, scene. Anyway, we got some cool stuff happening today. I had a guest in here. I had a man named Billy Basco in the back room, but he's trying to get his audio set up, and it didn't exactly work out for us. So what I have here is we got a couple topics to talk about, and so anybody who actually does maybe have some heavy commentary on the topics that we're gonna go over. Maybe we can just put the link out and see what's happening. And we got Yotam Darkstar. So it's good to have you here. I think this is the first time you've shown up for a Cup of Joe stream. So on here we talk about stuff and sometimes have guests, and usually there's some drawing element, which I will transition here to the drawing table, because I gotta finish these pages for Left Hand Free, which is this kind of Avatar Airbender meets Pacific Rim meets some other dystopian Big Brother type of society. So, I'm sure when the writer starts pitching it more, he's going to come up with a better explanation than that than I just did. But awesome, glad to have everybody here. We're going to switch over. In order to do that, I only have one camera because I'm a po' boy and don't have multiple cameras. I'm going to play my trailer for Star Circuit, which is picking up backers, which is also shipping out packages this week. We've got the 3D prints in, and we've got all the bags, boxes, everything ready to go for that stuff, for that particular item. So those are heading out, and unless you're international, you're getting those this week. So send those out for the US guys. For everything international, I'm putting it all in one big box instead of doing it separate. But here, if you bought the book and bought the bike, you're getting them separate. You're going to get the bike first, which is kind of cool. I know you get to have like the toy up front, or the print. Wouldn't call it a toy because it is special, more special than a toy. But yeah, so let me know in the chat if I've got some bad audio or something. Like I said, the levels are always a little bit different each time, and I want to make sure I get it right. So let me look at this. Let me get some background music on. Always forget to turn this on. And I'm working on a bunch of clips and stuff and things to make this the show a little bit more interesting. So we got some clips. I've got one. I've got one right here as well. I'll probably play it. Let's just play it later. I'll play my trailer now so I can switch my camera. But this is Star Circuit. Like I said, we're fulfilling some of it this week. The rest of it is being printed. So be ready for the book. Out to you guys shortly. So check out the trailer. See you guys in a minute.
Welcome to the future. A place where you can find anything you desire. If the burner gangs don't find you first. Where the fastest racers are artificial. And if you're human, you don't stand a chance. Star Circuit.
All right. What's up, everybody? We're back. So Bill's dancing up. Good to have
Star
you.
Circuit it.
Yeah, we need to come up with a dance for that track. So I got the camera set up somewhat. Of what
Nice.
I'm doing a double page spread with the light box. I've never done light boxing on camera. So
Interesting. Am I coming through okay now? Is it poppy at all or
no pop, just
killer?
just fresh Adidas beer.
Nice.
Doing good. So how you doing? What are you drinking?
A little coffee this morning.
Nice.
I prefer my coffee chilled.
Well, many people do, I hear. Some days I feel like the hot cup of coffee is like a little more comforting. The chill is more like I want to get some shit done. To me, that's how I
Right?
like that. But yeah, so anybody else pop in here? Oh, we got a couple new. Actually, Billy Basco and at the same time, Kenneth shows up.
Yeah, look at Kenneth. We got Black Rose in chat. Bionic Bruh. What else I see in the chat? A bunch of people. Yodam Darkstar.
Yeah.
Good morning, everybody. Nefarious.
Yeah.
Darren Wagner.
A lot of folks. So I wonder what will show up on this.
Oh, it's showing up nice.
Yeah, nice. Perfect. So this book I gotta get pages done, and we talked about like pretty much last week we talked about quitting your day job to try to get more comics done.
Right.
And, this week kind of, I don't know, oddly enough, I'm working into a more part-time at my day job, just oddly enough. And I didn't really plan it. It just happened this way.
Dude, oddly enough, I had quite a week myself of developments. So yeah.
I love to hear it. So any of that will be good to talk about as I draw. And but this week, I guess the part two of it is if you're going to be working so hard on comics, a lot of people are not used to that. It's something you have to build up to, but to have that kind of motivation and that kind of drive to keep pushing, keep pumping out the pages, because comics are really they're tough. They're tough to do consistently. So
yep. There's no such thing as inspiration in comics.
Right. There you go. So I had a couple of things just that I came upon this week as far as what motivation really is. Does it even really exist? And are you like working against yourself? Pretty much there's some ways that you can hack your own personality to make it work for you. So those things I want to talk about. But yeah, so you have anything to share about what happened to you this week? Job wise, maybe, or something like that?
Well, yeah, it was kind of job wise. As some of the people in Joe knows and Chapman knows, it's like everybody, we all have our moments when we're trying to work hard at our craft and do this, where we feel like we're having kind of a breakthrough bit. We start getting noticed by other people. People start coming to us and asking us for more jobs and just to working on our own stuff. And it can be a very quick gear up, where it can be a little bit overwhelming. And just in the last few weeks, I've gotten multiple calls of people wanting me to either do test pages or see what my schedule is. And I already have like 4 or 5 things on my plate right now. And I had already told myself until I get a few of these out the door, even though they're like slightly lower paying, because I was, like I said, it's the beginning. Like I'm trying to price myself right for my popularity and whatever.
Right.
But even with the 5 things on my plate, I'm trying to get out the door. I have to turn down some of this other stuff. So I actually got in contact with 2 of my friends. One that was a former Games Workshop person, and then another one. I call her my partner, but she like works in like tabletop and video game concept art and stuff as well. And I think that we're just gonna like
business.
I think we're just gonna form a LLC and form a small art house that can do craftsman style. Providing like we're not here to do creator owned stuff. We're here to provide services for other people that are doing creator owned. Yeah. I felt like my schedule was just getting too full, and she was just like, "You're at a place right now where you can't be turning down work, even if you feel that you're too busy." And I was like, "There's nothing I can do to get more work out the door. I can only work so fast."
Right.
And she was like, "Well, then maybe it's time for you to hire your own flatter, and then you to hire your own finisher." I was like, "Ugh, that sounds kind of scary," Right. She's like, "But it's going to help you get stuff out the door quicker, and it will be better for you." She's like, "Now is not the time when you need to be telling people no," and that was it. That kind of hit me hard, And that's, go ahead.
I led me on the same road this week. So my job, who knows if they're going to eventually hear this, but they sometimes offer part-time, and it's not something they usually do, but I was like, maybe I'll give it a shot. So try to push this angle, and I was like, man, I got so much work coming to me. There's enough that will make up for that money. I'll probably make more than I do at the job, but the point is, my rate's high enough. If I can keep the speed up, then I can do it. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like you just said, I hired a flatter. This is the first time I'm using a flatter.
Right. It's weird like that. Like,
right.
I had to hire a flatter just to like calm down my panic attack that I was having. Cause I got like 3 calls in one night and people were like, test pages. I was like, no. And like, my friend was just like, don't say no. Hire someone else to help you before you say no.
Yeah. I mean, I'd say that's good and bad up to a limit. I think there is a cap on.
Yeah. Well, of course, because you don't want to get yourself into that predicament where you've taken on so much work that you start letting people down, And like that was the balance or the equilibrium that I was trying to. Joe, you can make me like rearrange it so it's teeny size, so at least the crowd can kind of see your light box.
I was zooming in, and I was like, I forgot we can actually do this.
Yeah, there we go. That's make me all tag.
So yeah, this is a great combo because it's like something everybody kind of will deal with, or they're going to be nervous when it does come up. It's a good problem to have. First of all,
it's a good problem to have, and it's one of the arguments that you can make. Because some people say, "Oh, I want to do it all on my own. I want to be completely independent." But there are certain advantages to what they call tribing up slightly. You get someone that's like a monster, like obviously Kenneth in chat, that can do everything and very much enjoys his process to be able to do everything from back to front, pencils, inks, letters, colors.
Right.
But,
turn off the focus.
Maybe that's something that I'll get to in like 5 or 10 years. But like right now, like tribing up with the team is definitely going to help me getting stuff out the door and done,
Right. I feel that exactly because there's a lot of guys out there that you bring up Kenneth, but Kenneth's like the
he's an anomaly. Yeah, he's definitely an outlier in the situation. I feel that a lot of more people that are, and like I hate like gauging people, but like people more in the mid and lower tier creators should really, I think, start considering, like I said, tribing up, getting with people that you get along with and that that will be able to execute on projects, can only make these things better,
Right.
So, and it's about like slightly putting your ego aside too, because like part of like the process that I'm thinking about like in the future for like pushing out like color pages and stuff out the door is literally like having my flatter come flat, me do like 90% of like all the rendering. And then actually the artist that I consider better than me that I would have on my team, the one that's from Games Workshop, I would actually have them come in and like do the final 5% of like finishing touches, and then it would ship out the door. Just so I would know like the quality would always be there every time with the speed,
Right. that's a big deal. That's the worry. Like you're taking more work, the more pressure. There's a lot of good things happening there. We got a couple people having their own opinions. Let's see what B Rose has to say real quick. B Rose is saying motivation is quitting the 9 to 5 to have fun for a living, making comic books. I fucking hard.
Maybe.
It's
Yeah.
hard, but damn, it's fun. It's in its own strange way, pretty fulfilling, for sure. Like for all of us, it's the dream. You know, that's why we call it living the dream, because it's hard, but it is really that. Kenneth is agreeing with you, Billy, on the last point. Time is something that sometimes we need to delegate part of the work. Yeah, I think the more you outsource, the more you get to do what you really specialize with.
Right. Well, because you got to figure, I mean, especially when you start pricing yourself properly, it's like, okay, I'm really getting paid to finish this, but like for both me and you, not to flat it per se. So those hours spent flatting are literally a waste of time for us.
Right.
Like it's it's bad time management. Like we should be giving it off to someone that is maybe a younger, less experienced artist, someone that's just, maybe they specialize in that particular thing. And again, it's a way that we can give back into the community and help more people, get into comics, man.
Right. I absolutely. I've heard some other counterpoints here for doing the mundane work, because sometimes it's like it's a time where you can think about the art piece. Like while you're flatting, your brain can
Right.
a little bit, and you just like daydream into things you can do on it. You daydream into ideas and different explorations. So maybe that's one of the reasons why, I think Kenneth, flats his own work. It could be one of the reasons why a lot of people like to do that. I know Jeremy, Jeremy's calling his own work, and I think like gives you time to think, give you time to like really feel out the piece. But then again, it is in the grand scheme of production, it's not going to really be maybe the best thing for efficiency. So
efficiency, and for you wanting to cultivate your customer base, because they all want to see you succeed and the journey happen and whatever, but at the same time they do want the book as close as possible to the ship date, and
do you know Steve Zappa? He's a fine artist-ish type guy. He chills with modern day James and other guys like that. This guy he just had a recent video talking about, is there such a thing as working harder on art? Because it's like the more you brute force your art, the more it really doesn't work for you. You kind of have to let go and just let it happen as it happens. But in that video, he didn't really bring up the fact. He kind of denied the fact that time and speed is an asset, because he's like in fine arts and in illustration.
wait, I'm sorry, I missed what you kind of said. That what was
So this guy's bringing up the fact of, is there really a way for you to kind of brute force your way and work harder at art?
right?
To me, I got my own opinions on that, but the point that I was bringing up is that he really didn't stress the importance of like speed being a good thing. Like him, it's not really. He's an illustrator, so he doesn't have to pump out pages. You know what I mean? I brought up the fact in his comments, just like, dude, for comic artists, speed is like the second factor that makes you a comic artist. You know what I mean? So speed gets you more jobs. Speed gets more story out. Speed keeps the you being prolific is an asset to the story, not just to like making worse or better art. Because there obviously is a line that you can cross where you're working too fast, you're not putting out your best work.
Well, I think yeah, I would agree with you there, because even where I came from before comics, concept art, and like the stuff that like Trent Kanuga instilled in me, like you got to draw every day and you got to do it for like hours and hours every day, because that's what a professional does. Like I expect like my art lead to check in with me every day to be like, show me something you painted yesterday, and even though concept art isn't what I would call finished art that like sees the light of day to the public,
For the most
it
part,
still requires a level of speed that you're like pushing out these iterations, because you have a whole pipeline behind you waiting for those ideas to come out.
I don't want to wait for.
Well, I mean, so it breaks you of that like wanting to bring it to this like quote unquote perfect quality. Like it needs to read, it needs to look right, it needs to convey a message, and then it's got to get out the door. And comics are like that, except for you do maybe bring it more to a finished state, because I've seen some of my friends in gaming and illustration, when I show them like comic art, sometimes they'll pick at it and stuff like that. They'll be like, oh my god, the mast on that boat isn't in the right perspective and stuff like that. I'm going to use this one specifically because I showed them a Jose Garcia book, and like for me it's like Trent, Jose, like and then there's a couple people that follow, like, so when I showed some of my friends a Jose Garcia book and they immediately like picked out a ship mask that wasn't in proper perspective, I was like, bitch, homeboy pumped out 780 pages last year.
Yeah.
The fact that there's one ship mast not in proper perspective, like, I'm like, when you look at the page and you read the bubbles, does it convey that thing perfectly, and does the image look beautiful? Like,
right.
And he got it out the door.
I think that's like, it obviously has everything. You have to put it in context. You can't if you look at this one panel, you'd be like, yeah, you probably spot out a lot of weird ones. Right. But does it work overall? Does it? Mainly, we're storytellers, so
I'm gonna check every brick on that wall, Joe, to make sure they all line up.
Sometimes you got to force perspective. That's the whole point of forced perspective, is to make it work. But yeah, you're right. You can't look at it that way. Everything's the only time you can scrutinize that is if you're doing wonky things with your art and it's hurting the story point of whatever the panel is. Like, oh, right. Because it's so messy now, you can't tell that's a gun, and later on he uses it. You know what I mean? So you need to have that the story points there. So D-Wag just left a little bit ago, but hail D-Wag, go check out the show tonight. And Zayd saying Joe would have measured the mast to the bolts.
Well, I like it. Like Jose made a good point, because like he even knows his strengths and stuff, and I've heard him say it like 3 or 4 times now that like for him, perfection isn't perfect anatomy. For him, perfection isn't even perfect perspective. It's readability, shapes, and gesture. And as long as he knows he nails those things to his level of perfection, he's happy with that. And I think that's a lot of people should. I'm not saying to forego fundamentals, like that's not what I'm advocating, but he's obviously putting certain fundamentals as paramount first to make sure that he's getting that product out the door.
Right. I agree with a lot of. All of that. It's hard not to, because
yeah, and I've seen you like put together panels where like you look at the perspective and it looks perfect, but I know because I sat here and watched you, like, oh, did he eyeball that whole curve? Like, it's not even perfect, it's
right. But there's a lot of that you end up having to do.
Yeah.
Surrounded with. But what I'm learning now, Jeremy is almost like anti me as far as using a ruler. But I think it's a good mix. I think if you use rulers, just mix in the ruler plus the freehand lines and
right. Ruler after you sketch.
Yeah, whatever works for you, but the mix is the key there, I think. At least that what I'm discovering at this point.
Yeah. Well, it's like for me, it's like get the anatomy to fit the gesture before you try the opposite way. Because you try to make the anatomy perfect first, and it will make your characters just look stiff. Unless you're Fraga, and then you can just draw from the front of a boot tip all the way back to a guy's fucking bandana that goes backwards.
What's your opinion on that style of art in the first place? I was talking to somebody about it.
Dude, it breaks my head the way he draws, because he literally draws front to back camera.
Right.
So, and like, that's the way I think about scenes and value, but not individual objects being drawn.
Right.
It's weird, like no matter what happens to be coming at the camera first, whether it be an elbow or a head or a boot, Fraga seems to be able to draw the closest thing and then draw his way backwards into perspective from that point, no matter what that object is. And that's, I don't get that at all.
Yeah, it's a talent all its own. I find that I like that, but to me, that talent it doesn't serve me, I guess. But I guess maybe if I got really into it, it would. I just haven't I'm not good enough at it to
Right.
because we all can attempt that and we can get somewhere close to visualizing in that much. Jeremy's pretty good at that. I'd imagine he'd be somebody that can pull some of that off.
Well, I know that I've heard Dan say that he likes to work in I think it's his days from film and in Hollywood that he likes to work almost completely. Totally. I know he says it slows him down a bit, just speaking of speed, but he likes to work in asset form so that every character can literally be pulled from a page and be used as like a sticker or whatever,
Right.
And it may seem slower like in process, but then on the back end, he has like all these, again, assets that he can use in other places. I've heard Regan Lodge, Regan Lodge, the artist of Wyatt.
Oh yeah.
He kind of did something similar. Like when he went to go draw his book before guy's a maniac. He drew 200 pages and then decided he didn't like the style he was drawing in and started over. Now he's back at page 180 or 180 plus or something like that. But he drew all of his characters 30, 40, 50 times, and then when he's drawing his panels, he has this whole bank of his own characters that he can look at from any angle and then just draw from his own reference, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's he built his own super bank of style guide, Yeah. And that's super smart.
I mean, it's cool because, it's just like another tool, but I was going to say that, Freddie Williams, one of my early mentors, does a lot of that, and his whole DC book is based on making stat libraries for textures, and he has his method for stuff like this. For pretty much what's underneath my light box, the first drawings is what he would call wireframes, and that's just no lighting information, just the lines,
right?
And everybody doesn't necessarily have to work this way, but he'll in Photoshop, whatever, cut out all the figures from the background, like you were saying, Fraga would want to do. Or, but yeah, that's useful because then you can use it later on. You can shift the composition if you want to. So,
I think one of the biggest things that has helped me stay motivated, and then I believe everybody out there, if you're an aspiring artist, and I don't think that it transcends technical level. I could be wrong, but I would assume Kenneth, for how we look up to him for his skill, I'm pretty damn sure Kenneth is a human being, and Kenneth has artists that he looks up to. I think every artist needs to have, whether it be an actual mentor, a spiritual mentor of an artist that they look up to, that they, whether you emulate or you just look at their shape language and stuff like that. And then to go with either that spiritual mentor or actual mentor, you need as much, not just peer interaction, but as an artist, you need to be constantly, I believe, this is my perspective, I think that you should be constantly submitting your art to your peers for actual real critique, because you're not going to get real critique from everybody that you just show your art to. And those have been two of the biggest motivating factors for me, is checking in with my mentor and then showing my art to my peers, and then having my peers give me real feedback where they pick my shit apart, in a constructive, good way.
Right.
And those two things have just kept me so pumped at all times, more than all the other stuff. And it's like I said, it's interaction with people that are on your wavelength, I think, can really be, because some artists, some of us are introverts, and we hermit up, and we get in our head we want to be these auteurs of our story and stuff like that. Right. It can really be detrimental, cutting yourself off from people that would be your peers, and someone that it's okay to fanboy for people. You should have a mentor.
Oh yeah, I actually have a video tomorrow with Clayton Barton.
Nice.
Just on mentoring, the importance of mentoring and being mentored at the same time. So you need to mentor somebody and be mentored at the same time. And
Yeah.
important reason there. But I'll talk. We'll get into that tomorrow. Come check it out. It'll be at 6, I think, EST. So that's an afternoon.
I'm mentoring a young artist, like sort of out of Wales, and she is fucking sick. Like it almost grosses me out how good she is at 19 years old. Because like I wasn't that good at 19.
I hear you. It's it's important, and you learn a lot. But there's a lot of things to talk about on that subject, and I feel like it's something that not always, because that's something you naturally get in school because it's the whole point. But if you're doing it after school and you're doing, or during your everyday, because you're always learning in your job. So if you're working on comics, you got to have somebody to mentor, and you got to have a mentor that you're looking up to.
And Kenneth brings up a really good point. Depending, ellipses. Because a mentor is not exactly an influence. Exactly. You don't necessarily have to even want to draw like your mentor,
right?
Or be picking up. It's literally someone that you respect as an artist. Like their opinion, like you value their opinion, what they have to say, and we all know as like we get that feeling as an artist, like this person is at a higher technical level than me, so any advice that they're giving me is going to have a bit of value. But yeah, it can be either one. It can be someone that that's a really good point, because a mentor doesn't have to be a direct visual influence at all.
Exactly. Yeah, it's weird. I bring up Freddie once in a while too, but yeah, I have no desire. He draws his own way, and that's whatever. But his experience and his way that he teaches is like what I'm interested in.
Right.
So as far as motivation, let me share my screen, because I came upon this week, and this is one of the things I wanted to bring up while we're on the subject of motivation. Let's see here. Hopefully I didn't close that screen, because that would have sucked. Let's open this one up one more time. So I don't know if you've ever heard of, it's called doshas. It's like it's a Sanskrit type of like early technology almost of, I'm not sure what it derives from. I don't think it's like Hinduism or something, but it's something, it's an ancient, it's like an ancient way they kind of classify people.
Okay.
And so it's almost like this weird old personality kind of type way to kind of diversify things. And I found a good image that was just really simple enough to like kind of explain it. Not explain it, but like just have something to look at as we talk about it. Let's see if I can find it again.
Just to Dave from Genuine Comics. Yes, I still talk to my mentor at least 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah, that's like
well, maybe not 3, at least twice.
Dude, they really break this dosha stuff down. Let me just go with this. This like reminds me of this stuff here reminds me of the Fifth Element. You'll see why. Let me share this part here.
Sometimes, Dave, though, it's not necessarily about work. It's just kind of checking in, just seeing where stuff's at. He'll ask me like what I'm working on and stuff. He may not even have anything necessarily to say about the work, but definitely still, like I said, it's being a mentor, connecting with my mentor, and peer review. I think is like paramount to just becoming a better artist.
I absolutely, I totally agree. I come check out the mentor discussion we have tomorrow, Dave, and I'm sure we'll kind of, because Clayton's got a lot to talk about on the subject, and so do I, because we both have unique takes on it. But
you guys are like legit teachers, right? Like, I mean, you'd consider yourself a teacher, wouldn't you?
I mean, I kind of am.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I know Clayton is.
Well, I have probably 20 tutorials on his site.
Yeah.
So so here's this image that reminds me of Fifth Element, because of the shapes that are on the stones.
Oh, right.
Okay, so these are the 3 kind of personality-ish types that they have. Let me do this instead. I don't know, get how you're supposed to pronounce them totally, but if you look at the top left one, Kappa means it's a personality type is based on the earth. So it's like you're a slow and steady worker. Not much bothers you, but at the same time, you're not super ambitious. Like you're pretty much the turtle, slow and steady,
Stable,
stable as hell. You need these guys in your like surroundings because they're more like they're not argumentative, like, and they kind of hold things down that way. But the other two, the Vatas or the wind, I guess, type. So they're the ones that you think about, like, who are kind of ADHD. They have all these things going all at different times. The brain's in 5 different directions, and so that's kind of like the opposite end of the Earth. And then in between is this Pitta, which is kind of like fire water type, which means it's like your maybe your traditional go-getter, like type A. So they're really obsessive about what they get into, like they get really focused, and they work at it hard, but at the same time they can turn it off a little bit easier than Vatas, or and they're a little more ambitious than Kappas. So the point is knowing what you are and kind of knowing thyself, as they say, that can lead you down the road of working a different way. So if you got like this ADHD mentality of, you really can't stick to the same project day after day, what you need to do is set up several things going on at the same time and then work them into rotation. So this day I'm doing coloring, this day do something totally different, concept art, this day work on writing. And so if you have this personality, I think that's, this is what I'm bringing up. Like, if you know yourself, you're going to be able to work better. Do you have any thoughts on that, Billy?
I definitely think I'm Pitta then.
Traditional go-getter, obsessive.
Yeah, because and especially because I do, like, I'm right in the middle too, because I'll work on something for 3 or 4 days and I can feel it in me. I'm just like, if I step away from this and actually work on something else for a while, both things will come out better.
Right.
Because it goes back to that a little bit of that thing that you were talking about earlier with forcing it. Like sometimes I just feel like I'm at a spot where I'm just kind of pushing the pen, and forcing it a bit. Maybe I'm just not exploring the canvas properly, but just there's something there where I just feel like I got to step away.
Interesting. So like you kind of
and I mean, especially right now, I'm doing such drastically different things. Like, I mean, coloring between Black Flag and then switching to a different day and coloring Charlie's London is like,
oh, dude,
2 universes. Like,
yes, brilliant, because it kind of like will make you grow in a way too.
Oh, it honestly, it really has. Like, see, dude, a year ago, I would have never thought, like, I wanted to be a concept artist, illustrator, like keyframe artist, that's where I really thought my career was going a year ago.
Right.
I would have never thought colorist was even really in my cards. But coloring other artists' line work has been such a blessing for me, because like having to constantly render someone else's shape language that isn't my own, I didn't realize was going to be as beneficial as it was, because I'm having to basically, render and turn forms that I didn't necessarily draw the shapes for. So it's my brain is having to constantly figure that puzzle out. It's like, how is this face rounded? Like, you didn't draw it, so you better figure out so it looks right and not fucked up, Yeah,
that's a really good point, because there's there's different ways to grow, and one of those is like it's the same you don't want to bring it up as tracing, but even you tracing photos or tracing whatever, like you're gonna start, if you do it enough, you're gonna start seeing the patterns. Your brain just naturally do that.
Well, you look at some of the long timers that were known as quote unquote inkers, like Shelby Robertson and Art T. Bear, and then you see their artwork and it's like, holy shit.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, these guys may have like been known as inkers and worked as inkers for like 2+ decades, like in Art's case, almost 4 decades. But then you see their art and it's like, wow, it's like all the people that you inked in one, it's trippy. Like,
yeah, for sure. Billy and not Billy, Zaid is saying, do you see a service typology when you draw? Not exactly sure what he means. What do you think he means there?
Like material, just, if you were to break it down into like true wireframe, like around a face, like, can I see the curves? Like, no matter, even if it's not a face I've drawn, can I see where the planes are being curved? And, like some people can't do simple, it's like a fundamental, like just looking at a photo or someone else's drawing and being able to break it back down into the cylinders and blocks and planes.
Right.
Some people just can't do that. That's just not their forte, especially if it's not their own art.
Well, that is
so yeah, I would say that I see the topology, especially just the material topology for sure.
See, I got a background in 3D, so I meant there, but yeah, I would describe that as like, if that's the case, I would describe it as like wireframes.
Right. Yeah.
What's up, Peter? Peter's saying, how to motivate yourself to do the work. My cat's leaning over. Yeah, I'm sure that could be swap those out with your kids staring at you as well. Waiting to get some food. That'll do it. But yeah, I wanted to bring that up. It's interesting that you think you're a pizza, not a pita bread. However, I think I'm like somewhere of a mix. The more I thought about it, the more I do get obsessed about certain things and I'm able to focus. But at the same time, I'm like nothing bothers me like earth. Like I'm definitely not the other. I'm definitely not wind because I can do
right. No. You're definitely the stable.
Yeah, I'm
stable
like
type. Yeah.
I'm like a bonfire, like a big fire, stable, can burn for a long time. Controlled fire or something. I don't know what it is. But yeah, I never get burned out because I never get to that point. So I get burned out with social stuff though, because it really hits me hard.
Well, I see people like I've actually heard this methodology talked about on the internet actually several times in the last year. I'm not sure to the actual validity of it, but it's something that I didn't realize I was already doing and works for me as far as keeping motivated is when you're working on a piece and say you've been working on it for hours and hours and hours on end. Sometimes you get that feeling like, oh, let me just keep pushing myself to finish this, and there's, again, for me, there's a certain release and excitement and ending point to finishing each drawing where you almost feel like an exhale, and I think that it's bad to end an art session on an exhale.
Yeah, perfect.
You know what I mean by that? Yeah. Like always leave something done. Make yourself want to come back to the work. Like don't ever end your session for the day where you actually finish a piece. Like always end the day where you're in the middle of something, right, or you've just started something that you're excited about, or you're 2 hours away from being done. Like never finish the day being done.
My favorite,
because you'll want to relax the next day.
Right, for sure. I want to bring up Dave's comment, but first, my thing I like to do is, I'm always working in layers, so I'm like, I'll probably be drawing on top of an underdrawing. So I'll always stop on this. Like you always got this kind of scale of how confident you are with your underdrawing, and I'll leave on a time when I've got the underdrawings to see. The underdrawing is like great. It's got great rhythms, great language, and that way when I jump back in, it's doing half the work for me. Like I'm, and I don't have to figure out if something I struggled with. I didn't, maybe I didn't render this thing out, and I've got to figure it out when I first start or something. But yeah, I totally agree with that. Quentin Tarantino, I saw him on Joe Rogan, and he had something that I said, and I was like, dude, it resonated so much. He was like, when he's editing, he loves it because it's like this cycle of, just putting everything together in the finals, kind of like you are when you color comics. But what he said that I resonated with was, he was like, always the first thing we do, we come in after we're, been working all week or whatever. The next day you come in and you view what you did yesterday. You look at it, and he was like, yeah, I look at the stuff and we'll be like, oh man, this stuff is awesome. So it's like, let's look at some awesome stuff. Like, oh, I made that yesterday. Let's do that again. You know what I mean? Like, I'm badass. You can see how badass I am from yesterday's work. I can do that again today. So yeah, that's me. That's the trick.
Sometimes I feel too, if I were to stay working on a piece, I might put 5, 6, 7 more hours into it. and if I actually set it down and work on something else and come back, or it's the end of the day and I left it undone, when I come back the next day, like you're saying, and do that review, I realize that it's in a much tighter place than it actually was. And I feel I can then get it to the finish line quicker, picking it back up that next day and excited and refreshed, rather than pushing it, forcing it at the end of the previous day.
For sure. I love that. And I'm never a fan of, I'm not really a big fan of putting up your own work in your office. It's just not my style, but I do like to have one. And it's usually one that's not even a finished piece. It's usually just like a killer sketch I did, or one tiny bit of a render that I like. Just so I can look at it and be like, oh, dude, you're capable of that. Keep that in mind, dude. Like whenever you're doubting your stuff on the page, as you go through this process, remember that you're gonna, be able to do great things if you push it. So,
I know I've looked at the piece so many times now, but like I have to say, when I saw Shane Davis pull out my poster that he commissioned me for last night live on stream, I got a little teary-eyed, man. Like I was like, "Oh my god, here's my shit!" Like actually, physically in real life.
That's perfect. Like, and you're gonna hold on to that memory probably.
Oh yeah.
You should. And anybody out there who is maybe struggles with motivation, like you got to hack yourself. And if you know that you get these good feelings from viewing certain things, look at them.
Yeah.
Watch that stream where somebody talked you up.
Right.
Look like drawing. Go watch it. Hack your brain.
You got a new viewer here today.
Yes, we do. I'm gonna. I told you I was gonna go back to Dave, and I never did. Dave says, try to do as much work as you can in the morning. It gets more difficult during the day to get yourself in the right mindset. So once you're busy doing other things, yeah, that makes sense. That's how I work, and I think that's also tells me what type of person you are, because that's kind of like a pizza type of personality to get up there and doing like that. Wouldn't fly probably with the thoughts of wind people that. They usually like whenever they get to it during the day, they get to it, and they'll be super motivated whenever they do. So it's a little bit of that, but I feel the same way. Shaney V, hello, this is my first time. I managed to make a live stream. Awesome, Shane. Thanks for here, and thanks for commenting and like interacting, because we like this. We like to see when you give us a little piece of your mind, have a cup of coffee, and hang out. Peter says, I almost never do a piece in a day, and usually have a few different things I'm working on at once. So it sounds like you're a wind pivot.
Peter's another one. Has worked in the industry for what, 20, 30 years. Peter is as a known inker, but then you see his artwork and it's fucking gorgeous.
Absolutely. And Peter's talking me up. Thank you so much for this. It's great. As soon as I have more funds and to get on, I appreciate it. We are fulfilling soon, so it's a perfect time. I'm looking down on my endless amount of things I haven't hung up yet, because my background on my wall behind me is blank, because I haven't hung up anything. But down there, I've got Capullo's inker, Galapagos. He's great. I don't know, like his inks are great. I think he's one of the best inkers alive. But if you go actually look at his art, he's like a better artist than, like, in some ways, he's like, this guy has got like kind of ideas sometimes.
Well, I mean, not to bag on like King Liefeld either, but you see Shelby Robertson stuff, and you're like, oh wow, like it's like Rob, but better, like.
Insane. 24 Eyes says, hopefully we'll be able to find you guys at Fine. Is that at Fine in coming years to get a few books and art pieces signed? What do you think that means? Fine.
Maybe it's probably he was probably typing it. Probably conventions. Oh, yeah. He was trying to.
That's what I figured. I can't wait till we have one especially because we might do it in Orlando.
Well, isn't there? I've been seeing on Twitter. Isn't there some big convention happening right now? And I saw that like Patrick is like streaming in 2 hours about some toy thing. He's gonna have Shelby and Irene on.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
it's like it starts like 2 hours after we will end here. But let me just see what the title of it was again. It was called. I saw a thing for it. Riot Press.
Yeah, check it out. I always miss because like Sunday is like a super
Right?
work day for me.
Dude, I didn't even realize it was Sunday today. Because of my weird astronaut schedule, I actually woke up and slept twice on Friday to work.
Well,
And then thought yesterday was Sunday and woke up today and thought it was Monday. I was like, oh, wow, I'm working so hard. I got a whole extra day back.
that's hilarious.
Well, because on Friday, like I had stayed up all night Thursday night painting, and then like went to bed at like 9 a.m. Friday morning, and then slept for like 5 hours, woke up again, worked for another 8 hours, and by then it was like Saturday morning, went back to sleep, woke up and thought it was Monday for some reason. I was like, oh, God damn, Monday, I'm a day behind. And then I looked, I was like, wait, Morning Cup of Joe is coming up?
Yeah,
I was like, oh my God, I got a full day. Like here I was beating myself up that I was a day behind on my deadlines, and I'm actually a day ahead. Sweet.
That's great, man. I feel like it's almost like when you're, anytime you're ahead of time, even your mind, it's pretty cool. So Shady B's got something to say. I got to say that Joe's How to Draw Comic tutorials are amazing. The Beginner's Guide to Making Comics is amazing, helpful, and that's how I found and started this journey to discover this channel. That's like, the cool thing is that I do get to interact with you guys, but not as, since it's on How to Draw Comics, it's not my website. I never get notifications for when people comment and whenever I have to go look. So that's the downside to doing tutorials as like a third, like as a contractor almost.
Right.
But it is cool to see. I go on there and like I see everybody like, oh, this is super helpful. Thanks for putting this up. And I'm like, to me, that's why I'm doing it. And the other side is that for me to make the tutorial, it irons things out. Like yeah, I know how to draw a torso, but do I really know how to draw this one muscle I avoid all the time? No.
You mean that one right between the shoulder blade and the lats, like on the back right there, that I fucking hate? This little triple, the little triple muscle, I fucking hate right there.
Oh yeah. But by doing that, I find ways to teach people better, and in that way, I'm really just teaching myself.
I hate shading that little lump because, like, from different angles, it looks so different, and it's such a weird little grouping of muscles that's like tucked under the shoulder and between like the back ones.
Yeah,
but like when you nail it, it looks so good.
It's just shape language that we hardly get to have to do.
Yeah,
and so I think repetition will solve a lot of this. But yeah, to me, I have same trouble. Same trouble.
I need to open the door for my cats really quick. I'll be right back.
All good. It's all good. I'll man chat. So we have like two different things happening with this motivation talk. One is like trying to get the work done and using motivation to do that. But motivation is also just, like a mentality type of thing. Like if you let's just say, if you don't like doing something, and you're kind of forcing yourself to get motivated, is it really worthwhile to do anyway? So like maybe this is leading you down a road of figuring out what you really want to do with your life. Maybe you like doing other things and like instead of comics. Maybe you like to do just the concept art. Maybe you like to do more of just the storytelling. But you need to follow your passions. Like if you're not having motivation to do something, take a minute. You don't have to like listen to it fully, but take a minute and check and see if you really like are in the right path, And so to me, that's one of the things I would tell you to do. Nothing so straightforward in life. That's how it works.
Well, thank you, Peter, for saying I'm a machine. But like I was talking about earlier with hanging out with peers, Matt Bar 6 in chat, I stay motivated by surrounding myself with people that are more motivated than I am. Like I see Joe cranking out stuff. I hang out with Boob Dan Art a lot. That guy like will pencil and ink 8 pages in a freaking day. I see Matt Barr crunching out stuff. Like, you want to stay motivated? Hang out with people that are motivated.
Yeah, for sure. While you're gone, I was bringing up the counter to that. I'd say the devil's advocate kind of argument, which is if you're not motivated for something, maybe it's not for you, or maybe there's like an alternate thing, a part of that you like more, or pretty much if you're not feeling that motivated and it's happening a lot, it means that maybe look at what you like about it, what you don't like about it, and find it. Maybe you really like doing just the coloring, you know? So
Isn't it weird when you hear artists talk about like how hard it is to draw and like that they don't like to draw? Like, yeah, every once in a while you'll hear artists like say those words, like, man, drawing takes a long time. It's really hard to draw. I think I'm going to move away from drawing and like, and just do this. I'm just like, ugh, like that sounds absolutely horrible.
yeah, dude. To me, it's like, dude, if you don't like doing it, just don't do it. It's your life, you know?
Yeah.
But if you do have this kind of nagging that you're like, oh, it'd be cool to get better at this. I have this, you see the artist that you love and you're like, I need to get that good. Or, you know, you just read stories and you want to be like, I want to tell a story that well, you know? That's what we all feel. But then comes the hard work. And to do that, it's a day in, day out, draw every day, write every day, you know, surround yourself with people and mentors that are doing the same things. All these things will help. For sure.
There's a really good book by what's his name, Stephen Pressfield.
Oh yeah,
he wrote like Bagger Vance, I think, and the he's wrote like some famous scripts and movies and stuff with people. But he's got a book called I have it right here on my desktop because I listen to it all the time. The War of Art instead of the Art of War, and it's supposed to be like a rewriting of like Sun Tzu's Art of War, but from the perspective of the artist. So it's called The War of Art, and it's absolutely about motivation and like literally like looking at it like a soldier and like attacking the problem, and like you got to have your strategy and like, you know, you got to make sure that your logistics are all right to keep you motivated and whatnot. Mm-hmm. And above anything, like you said, like pencil has got to hit paper every day. For and sure. It's got to feel good. You got to love the process.
A lot of people like put too much pressure on themselves when you're making a schedule. Like, let's just say you need to pump out pages or you wanted to get this much drawing done a day. You don't have to do it never ending. Just like if you like playing whatever video games, set aside, go play video games for half an hour and come back. You know, a lot of times I'll do that, and while I'm playing video games, I'll be like, oh, I wish I was drawing. You know,
dude, I'll do the same thing. Like started playing Grand Theft Auto 5, and I'll be like an hour, and I'm like, this is cool, but like,
it's kind of boring. I don't know what.
I have shit to color.
Sometimes games really. There's a few franchises that I can't get away from, and I love those games. But if I like
finding really pretty games that will actually inspire me to want to take screenshots that I'll then want to go employ. Like 6-8 months ago, I was playing The Witcher 3. And there was a lot of really great environmental shots where there was like a sunset coming through or whatever. And I was like, oops, screenshot that shit and just look at it a bunch because I would have looked at it on Pinterest anyway, looking at sunsets.
For sure.
You know,
that's like it's all mindset. You know, me and Jeremy were talking about, you know, about the part-time work. You quit your job. Like every job has its asset because you're able to build some visual language or whatever's around you, pay attention. So if you're playing video games, pay attention. You know, what are they doing crazily well here? Like, what makes you like this environment, you know, that you're in? Stuff like that. Shenny B brings up, what I wonder is if you have something you're really impressed with and want to aspire to when you start off so poorly, how do you keep the drive to get to that level? That's a mix of everything we've been talking about. To me, it's momentum. To me, a lot of this is momentum. You're not going to be able to wake up the first day and draw 8 hours and overcome the roadblocks that you're going to. If you're not that great in the beginning, it's because you haven't practiced enough. And to get that great, it's just over time, drawing more and more, getting the feedback. And as you get better, you're going to build this feedback loop, I think, of just this insane dopamine hit when you do get things right. So that you can use to do it. I don't know if you have a thought on your own there. And Hail Coleman.
Well, it goes back to the, like I said, like peer review. If you're hanging out with other artists that are around your level, like some doing basically the same thing that you're doing, some people doing that are a little bit below you, and then some people obviously that are excelling a bit more, you can naturally fall into that mentoring stage. Because even within that tight peer group, someone that you consider is a peer is also slightly mentoring you to get better because they're teaching you stuff that may be wonky or wrong with your stuff. And then in turn, you're getting to fulfill that role as a mentor with some of the other artists that are maybe just below you on their journey, and you can help help them figure out some of those same things. And that feedback loop in and of itself, of like having a little bit of knowledge passed down, working on your own stuff, passing on that little bit of knowledge to someone that's like right below you, you'll just start to level up. And like you said, that dopamine will start to hit in, and you're like, wow. But it's not something that's easy. So I don't want to like pass it off like it is an easy thing. You really have to be ready to hand over your art to people that you trust and have them fucking tear it up. Like
Right.
literally, like you have to be ready for people to like take your art, put it onto a Cintiq, and paint over the fucking top of it, and be like, fucking, this nose is fucking broken. Your knees like shouldn't be turning that way. Like you have to be ready for brutal honesty that's really going to help you. And a lot of artists aren't ready for that type of peer interaction, but it's necessary.
Absolutely. And sometimes you're surprised sometimes. Like even early on, it is good because Shaney B is bringing up, do you recommend feedback even early on? Of course. It's always good, except the more pro you get, the more they're just going to have a generic kind of answer for you, like work on this fundamental, work on that fundamental.
Right.
You get a little bit better, then they'll have more personalized feedback for you.
Right. I mean, you'll get to a certain level, like where you're like, even pros, well, you'll show it to another pro, you know, and they'll just look at you, and they're not going to give you obviously, you know, fundamental critique, but they're going to be like, that composition's feeling a little wonky or a little off weighted. These people over here feel a little bit scrunched and tight. You might want to loosen this up a little bit. You know, you're going to get other stuff that's critique for your level, you know?
Right. And I think the better and better you get, the more it starts sounding subjective. Like maybe I should take this with a grain of salt, because they're trying to get you a critique, but you may be doing all the fundamentals right, but their personal taste means like, oh, I wouldn't put a line here. I would never put a line to show the highlight, you know, leave that to color, you know, but maybe that's what you like to do. You know?
Chromatic aberration.
Yeah.
It's a hot new post-production that a lot of people are using, but I know a lot of people are like, I don't like the way that looks. It's like got a rainbow color. And I'm like, no, that's cool. It looks cool. They're like,
but I want to bring up, speaking of, I got a couple things to bring up.
bring up your poster.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring it up too.
Dude, you're killing it on that campaign. I'm not sure if I've been watching it. You know that you're like, I was saying Neff's campaign. You're outselling every cover on that campaign. You're slaying it right now, Joe.
I mean, we could get into why maybe that's the case, but at the same time, I wanted to bring up one other thing. You'll be surprised if you get feedback early on. Sometimes pros will surprise you with like, maybe they'll be like, oh, dude, you're way better than your self-esteem's like letting on by like how nervous you are to talk to me. Or maybe they'll say, like, I remember the guy that drew Wonder Woman all the time, Jorge Jimenez. No, not Jorge, the other one, the other Jimenez. Anyway, we brought him my Green Lantern samples one time. He was like, dude, 20 years ago, you'd have a job already with this stuff. Today, it's a different story, but don't let that, because you don't have a job, get you down. Like, just have the confidence there, and things will happen eventually. But even things like that are not even about your artwork. It's more about like your confidence. Really helps. So always get the feedback. Now let's check out Mavericks. So Mavericks is Global Frequency Studios' latest campaign. I have a small part in it, maybe a bigger part in the future. We'll see. However, Mavericks is like a fanboy's dream come true if you're a fan of mech stuff. Like, let's just say you were into. Oh, they got a banner actually down here that is all the fanboy stuff. There we go. Armored Core is about Front Mission 2. But yeah, even if you just like Gundam, like anything Gundam, you might like this.
Or Mech Warrior. Even if, because I know a lot of people are sorry to interrupt you there, Joe. I know a lot of people are like anti-weeb. So it's like, hey, like, yeah, fuck Gundam, man. Who reads Gundam?
Right.
Like, but if you're into like Western, like Mech Warrior, hell yeah, you like this.
Check that. Even like if you're just into Metal Gear Solid, I like they put that there.
Yeah.
It has this realism, and that's what I like about what they're doing. It's not this kind of. It's not very, because even if you know Gundam goes a wide range of really grounded to superhero nonsense almost. But it's cool. But theirs is very grounded. Speaking of, right next to here, I did this cover right here. So if you want to support me, support the book at the same time, I did the cover C for Catapano.
If you zoom down, if you scroll down a little bit, there's a bigger version of yours where they show all the covers.
Oh, cool. Perfect.
Right there. There we go.
Look at these covers. Preston's cover was tight. And what's this? Joe Ball over here.
Joe Ball, yeah.
Ball. Myself is this letter C. So this one's the sniper. And I'm such a I guess I'm the most chill. And so they're like, let's just give Joe this chill sniper one. And then over here, I forget who did this one. Do you remember?
The name of the mech?
No, name of the artist.
Oh, that's Rob Willis right there.
Willis. There we go. It's different. That's why it's way different than what he's done before. So
it's so different than what he's. And honestly, I don't think I've ever seen Matt Yackey color Rob Willis either. So that's a combination I haven't quite seen yet.
It's interesting. I like the composition. Just anything that's like negative spacey is kind of cool. And then we got our boy pulling up the rear here with his cool classic.
Dude, that is fresh.
Yeah, he's so cool. It's an ode to what, Spider-Man, or I think that's right.
It just looks already like a DVD cover, like for the anime, Mavericks, the animated series, like.
Right. So Shelton Robertson kicked ass on that one. So if you want to get everything, which there is a lot there, including this, there's so much on this campaign. It is nuts. I can't talk about it. We don't have time. But go watch the streams that he'll be on. And I personally got the box. If I was working on this or not, I got this box over here because it's got everything. He's doing these crazy things with all these stretch goals. This is probably going to most bang for your buck campaign ever if you get this box, especially right now when it's only $150. So
to answer your question, Black Rose, yes, Joe's cover is 100% Joe. From layout to colors to pen, it's all Joe.
Yeah, actually, there's an original, so I'm sure they'll be putting that original up for sale eventually, so you can snag that. I had a blast doing it. It was actually the first cover I've done with a flatter, so that's flatted by somebody else.
Oh, trippy.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I think that of the covers that are available, all of the artists colored their own work, with the exception, I believe Joe Ball's was colored by another colorist that I'm not sure who it is, and I know that Rob Willis's was for sure colored by Matt Yackey.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, just to sell a little bit. I believe at the 30-day mark or at some point, Matt Barr, artist of Rock and Roll Ninja, also has a poster coming up, and I myself have a poster coming up for this campaign that will be coming in at the midway mark. So, dude, pretty excited about that.
They uploaded the thing again, their stretch goal image. Just go take a peek at this campaign map. It literally feels like one of those campaign maps in an RPG game. You're like, what the hell is going on with this thing? Let's go look at it for a second, and then we'll pop over and talk about Star Circuit for one moment, give you an update. So it's down here, I believe. Did I pass it? Or maybe they never put it up again. Those are the preview images. Stretch goals. Where's it at? Come on. That's all I want is some stretch goals. Did you see it? Did I pass it?
Maybe they took it down to reset them or redo them.
Yeah.
They've been really, I mean, some people kind of do their page and just kind of leave it to stew. They've been actively morphing their page day by day to like tailor it for that day. So yeah, I don't see them on there right now.
Oh yeah, here's another image coming too for the print. This is one of the prints that you probably get with the box, the fully loaded box. Looks great. Some chibi stuff. Chibi stickers are coming. Chibi standard.
That chibi's okay. It's no Shari chibi, but whatever.
Yeah, true. That is true. Star Circuit.
Neff, how come you haven't hired Shari? She does really good chibis, man.
She does great, and it's just really because my brain can't hold more than two ideas. And right now I've got 2 books to get done. But once we get back to it, she probably will do a whole chibi scene for us, which would be great. Yeah, Matt is saying, yes, I'm doing a poster for them. I am stoked for that. 24 Eyes says you can get everything for $220 shipped. Heck yeah. So Pals was covered by someone else here. Really?
Hmm.
Which one is that one again?
That's the Akira homage, the main cover.
Yeah, you're right.
It's probably the colors to the book, I would assume then.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, they're trying to knock it out of the park, and like I said, I may or may not have a future Maverick work coming your way as well. Who knows? I don't want to say yes or no. However, this is a great campaign. I'm stoked. I think it's going to knock it out of the park as it gets to close. It's going to be just a skyrocket. Let's go give you an update on Star Circuit. This is my book. We talked about this before.
Ooh, you hit 18K.
Yes. This past week we hit 18K. I was like, dude, thank God. My goal is after we fulfill that, it brings up a little resurgence and we can hit 20. I think 20 is like a perfect mark for a first timer. Like that would be like double. That's double what my expectation was. My goal was 10. And so hitting 20 would be double. I'd be like, yeah, this is like dreams come true. It's already is dreams come true for me. But
one thing I'll bring up to remind you and to everybody out there in chat that may not be aware of this. We have someone within our community that was able to almost triple his sales after the campaign closed and went into demand. And that is Professor Murph of War Party. And one of the ways that he did that, it was a really brilliant thing that I still have yet to see anybody else use. It was after he went into in demand, he added add-ons to his campaign. But here's the thing, the special part is he added add-ons as a secret tier first. So that anybody new coming to the campaign, it would just look like a normal add-on. But anybody that had already backed gets an email with a special link so that they can buy that add-on with no extra shipping, and it just gets added into your other order. It alleviates that thing of like people wanting to refund and then have to reback, and then brings people back to the campaign to buy another concept art book, to buy another extra book. And he did it, I believe, 3 times where he added secret perks where to like, again, people, it generated buzz to now new people coming in. It just seemed like a regular perk that was there. But to anybody that had already invested into your project that believed in you, you're basically giving them more content without punishing them to have to refund and rebuy or repurchase and pay for shipping again.
And
it's a brilliant strategy that I think a lot of people should take up when they go into the in-demand phase if they want to, end their campaign with a bang.
I had a real life stuff happen. So like for me personally, it was like, I wanted to I should have planned on more, but at the same time, I don't think I would have been able to promote it as much, getting a new house and all this other craziness that I could barely hold on to my own life. So, but no, Professor Murph is like, I would say Sovereign Wolf was a great mark for you to match for like fulfillment. For Murph, it's like he's like nailed the campaign,
running the end game. Yeah,
he's the guy to look to there. I mean, I would say he's one of the mentor-ish type of pioneers for that reason.
Because he ended at somewhere like 11 or something like that, and then like made another 20 in demand or some shit like that. It's
triple your
bonkers.
Next time, I guarantee I'm going to learn the lessons here, which I've learned many already. But planning. I only planned to a certain point. I didn't plan past in demand, obviously, but I will be planning that as we go. That way, I don't have to struggle so much. But anyway, we're fulfilling the 3D bikes this week. I'm sending the first one out. I'm only sending out one because it's kind of like I want to test the packaging. I'm not going to send them all out. I want to see if that one gets there safely, and it's only a 2-day ship, so I'll know in a few days, and then I'll ship out everything. I just want to make sure. I don't want to ship everything out in the U.S. and then have it go wonky on me. But that's the plan. Everybody's going to get it this week, and believe me, I used to be a shipping manager. I know what's going on. I know how to ship things, but still, you never know. The USPS, especially right now, they're undermanned. Probably they don't care as much. I'm going to do everything I possibly can. This thing's double boxed, with peanuts and everything. It should be fine, but you never know. I want to check. So if you're interested in those bikes, there are several left, more than 20, I believe. You can get this $60, as cheap as we can make it bike. It's a really big 3D print. I actually have it. Have you seen it before? Were you on? Did I show it last time?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, cool. But yeah, this is a great little addition. And then shortly after, I'm getting the last proof for Star Circuit this week, and we're going right to print. We're over printing, and so I'll have extras for next campaign for putting them in the stores because I want to do that locally here.
Cons,
yeah, all the rest. So that's coming up. So you're really going to be reading in August. I wanted it to be June, but like I said, with 2 different things happening, everybody's wondering sometimes what's happened. But in this case, for Star Circuit, the hurricane down here kind of affected it, as well as my inexperience as like a pre-press person. Like there's a lot to go into getting your book ready for press. So I'm now a master, not a master, but like I am competent. Like if you came to me, which people already have to figure out if the pages are ready, I can help you out. So anybody out there is questioning, I'm here for you.
Shaney B wants to know, I would assume, whether you're sending out digital copy at the beginning of shipping, or if you're going to send out the digital copy, I would assume at the end of fulfillment.
Yeah, I feel like I want to promote, because I'm cool with giving digital copies out for everybody, like if you back it. But I want the physical backers, the high tiers, to get the most, like, I guess, perks for those high tier backing. So it'll go out when all the other books go out.
That's the way Fresher Luke did it. He waited like a good, I think 3-4 weeks after the final package was shipped out, and then sent out an email to his backers with a digital copy. So he's just like, hey, if you feel like you still want to read it and not thumb through your book, please be respectful and not share this out. In
my case, there's actual tier, so I'm going to put it out at the same time. But I also don't. I'm going to probably wait a few days. I want everybody to kind of get it around the same week. So that's the goal. So if you get the digital, definitely. I really, first of all, appreciate you doing it. But yeah, if you're US, the shipping is pretty cheap. I got it as cheap as I can get it. But yeah, a lot of things come with this campaign along with the book. So check out the stretch goals on this campaign. It's awesome. Get us closer to 20 grand, and we're gonna probably do another giveaway as well. Oh, actually, I was supposed to do a giveaway today. We'll just push it to next week. I'm gonna give away another bike for hitting 18K. So if somebody else is gonna get a bike for free, we're gonna do that.
This will give you another week to spread the word.
Absolutely.
To win a bike next week on Morning Cup of Joe. For
sure, and because if you back, the raffle will be for all backers. So if you back from now to next week, you will be a part of this raffle. It has to be a physical backing. That way I have an address, So let's see here. If you add stuff late, it definitely help that no double shipping was added, but there's no way to know if having them at launch would have been better or worse. Good point, Jim Cox. That's kind of like that's something that probably Critical Blast pays attention to. Stuff like that. That dude has got the numbers.
Well, no, and Jim brings he's bringing a very valid counterpoint. And even like his joke right there. I got most of the secret perks grumbling while doing so, LOL.
That's great. Coleman's excited for the bike. I am too. Like I'm glad I have him in my hands finally. And all those people that are like, nothing against people, but there's definitely some CGers and other people that are like, I don't know, put this bad connotation to fulfillment. I'm stoked every time I pack the box. I'm stoked to put my logos on it. I'm stoked to maybe it's just like the novelty of doing it the first time. Maybe after this first time, it gets a little more mundane, but for me, it's exciting,
Dude, you're packaging books and sending them off to people that want your shit. That's exciting.
It's incredible. And you get to do it your own way. You get to put in the care that the big two are probably putting in. They're not doing this themselves. You care about your project. So you're doing it as to the best of your abilities because you care about the book, you care about the IP.
To me, it sounds like free high, like repeated dopamine hit of seeing friends' names of oh, hey, I talked to them in chat. That's all, it's you get that repeated thing, it's again, training your brain to love that,
Right. And you can agree with this too. I'm sure we're familiar with each other online. We're friends. The more we interact on streams and whatnot, we're more friendly and we become more and more good friends. So when I see your name pop up in fulfillment, I'm like, oh, this is going to my butt. I'm throwing something special for you, whatever. Those things are things I like doing. If we interact, you might get an extra sketch art. Who knows what you get? Because I like to do some nice things. So thanks for backing into
Sorry.
Let's refresh it.
I know Matt what he meant, but can you highlight his? It's a double entendre.
Let me check.
It's Matt Barr's last comment. You want people to talk about your package for sure, man. Like definitely. I love it when people talk about my package, man. Like I'm ecstatic.
Dude, it's more than a stat. You are. It's gonna boost your ego a little bit, but it's worth it. You know.
That's right, ladies.
Hex is here. Hex, you're the bomb, dude. And have you seen that Mavericks Hex combo cover or print rather?
No.
The one with he's got his aircraft in one of them.
Oh shit.
We can go back to that. Let's see what Peter says. Sounds dirty. Yes. I believe that's what the joke was.
Yeah.
So good to have everybody show up today. We're going to end because I have to finish a double page spread today. This is kind of like a test to see let's how fast can Joe do a double page spread in a day if it's already been laid out pretty well. So
I like to goat artists into doing double page spreads. This would look a lot better if it was a double page splash. But I mean, I get it if you can't put one together.
Yeah, dude, I get it. It's a little all right, Shady B says doesn't mean it's good talk about the package. Did you see that tiny package of whoever? Yeah. It's always good. I think even if you got an oddly shaped package, it's probably a good thing to talk about. It's going to help other people.
All right. Well, thanks, Joe. Good show as always. Uh-oh.
And Tommy's here.
Your internet was skipping a little.
Yeah, yes, indeed. I'm glad you showed up. We all appreciate when you show up. You're a cornerstone of CG. Appreciate it.
I think we're good again.
Nice. Takes you longer to do a double. It's like doing 3 pages, really. To me, I don't know where that is, where I fall there. Depends what it's on the page. If I have a big background, I go nuts. I'm just drawing pebbles and stuff. But if this page I'm doing here is a lot of there's a lot of story points I need to hit, and to do that, putting in backgrounds kind of pull you away from the story point. So let's hope I can just knock this out and finish. Package envy. That's what we need to be talking about. Hashtag package envy.
Right?
Filming.
Dude, Fresher Luke's book, each perk was individually sealed, wrapped in a plastic bag. So it was 6 individually heat sealed wrapped plastic bags that were nicely folded and then bubble wrapped around the book. I was like, damn, that's yet another thing I hadn't seen before. Usually you see people throw all of them into one bag. This was they used one of those vacuum heat sealers on every single one to keep it nice.
Right.
I was like, wow, that's, I don't know how much extra that is, but it was.
I got plenty of bags. Finally, it took 3 months to get bags shipped to me, back ordered. But I ordered 1,000, so we're good for a while. That's good. But yeah, I got enough where I could probably split them up a little bit, depending on how it feels. I feel like if they're gonna stick together or something, I'll separate them. Yes, we are all talking about packages right now.
Probably a good spot to end on.
Yes, great spot. So yes, I'm stoked for everyone showing up. Billy, you're one of the best conversationalists around. Appreciate you coming around to chat with me. It's been fun. I'm not ending right now. I always want to see if you had anything. Sorry.
No. Go back comics that you want to buy.
Yes, that's a great thing to do. A lot of campaigns out there. Mavericks. We were talking about Star Search, but there's tons. There's so many.
It just reminded me. So it looks like people are saying in chat, Ethan's streaming right now. In 2 hours, Patrick Thomas Parnell will be going live with Shelby Robertson and Irene Staroslawski of Fiendish. And I guess he is launching the mailing list or the sign-up list for Johnny Phantasm Extreme 93 with what looks to be a new announcement with a cover by Shane Davis, Yanzi Lin, and Matt Yackey. So yeah, in 2 hours, go check out Patrick Thomas Parnell. Looks like they're going to be talking new Johnny Phantasm.
And that's
Exciting.
Riot Press on YouTube, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is it press or production? Press.
Riot Press Productions.
There we go. So yes, go check it out. Great guys over there, and great creators. No, we did not coordinate. Actually, everyone that comes on my show has to wear red. It's just the cult thing we do around here.
I have that shirt, so I'm glad I didn't wear it today.
Next time we have to twin it. So twinning, Nefer is here. Go check it out. It'll be fun. Thanks for showing up, everybody. It's been real. I'll see you guys Wednesday. Actually, I'll see you guys tomorrow. I got to stream with Clayton, 6 p.m. Eastern time, doing a talk about mentoring. So we'll see you then. That's the next thing. Until then, have a great day. You too, Billy. Thanks for showing up. Peace out, guys.